College, generally regarded as the most fundamental and formative years of every young adult's life. Having times you won't remember with the friends you'll never forget. But a lot of students today seem to forget the absolute primary purpose of college, the education. Some may call it laziness, some take stabs at the younger generation, but most critics would agree when they call it a sense of entitlement. Students now tend to believe that just by showing up to a class, that they are deserving of an A grade, regardless of the effort, commitment, and content of the work they submit. This epidemic, as some college professors would claim, is that students no longer want to just do any work and want to just get by doing the bare minimum. And the bare minimum for all students is simply showing up to class. And by reaching the most minimal of goals that should be expected of a student, they now turn this into entitlement. What does it actually take to achieve an A in a college course nowadays? And does effort really matter? I recently sat down with some college students and professors to share their views on college grading and students' sense of entitlement.
I think that I would try to exceed a teacher's expectations if I wanted to get an A, because otherwise you're just sticking for the average. And also as a future educator, I think it kind of depends on students' needs and what they can handle. So,
truthfully, I feel that getting a good grade is better than learning something nowadays. Unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer that you really need to know the information, getting a good grade is definitely more important in most classes.
I would expect to exceed the teacher's expectations because an A should be well deserved, not just off of you just doing your homework and just attending class. It should be actually devoting yourself to that class.
Would you expect students to try and strive for higher than just your expectations?
Yeah,
that you set
I think
forth?
if they just did the expectations as a teacher, I would probably give them like a B. And if they did above and beyond, then that would be the A.
What is more important to you, getting a good grade or actually learning something?
Actually learning something, because there's a lot of classes where you can pass and you don't learn anything, but you're paying to learn, so it's important to actually learn something instead of getting just a good grade.
But then why do many students focus primarily on the letter grade, instead of the actual learning and retention of course material?
I feel that people focus on the letter grade more because of their GPA. They want to have a 3.8, 3.9 when they graduate college, especially if they're looking to go to grad school. That does influence getting into other schools. So that's why people work on the letter grade more than actually learning the material.
But many students share conflicting views on whether or not they would actually be willing to dispute a grade with a teacher.
Most definitely. I definitely would talk to my teacher about anything. If it was like I didn't agree with the grade, I didn't like the curriculum, I would definitely dispute it with my teacher.
Disputing a grade with a teacher can go two ways. You can maybe piss off the teacher even more so, and then future assignments you could get a lower grade. If you feel in your heart that you fully deserved a better grade, then yes, I would dispute it. But for the most part, you're not going to get your grade reversed. Kind of like complaining to a referee in a sports game, you're just not going to get the call reversed.
University of Hartford English professor Carrie Provost offers a unique perspective from the other side of the grading table. In terms of grading a student, which is more important, effort or results?
They're obviously graded on the results, but I keep in mind that effort. I measure where people start out, and throughout the semester, if they're really improving on a certain thing, I keep that in mind, but I don't necessarily change their grade because of it. And they have to show a lot of effort in my classes. They have to submit different essays again and again. So it kind of overlaps.
Okay. In your classes, what does a student need to do to receive an A?
They have to do a lot, as you know. Well, basically, if just by meeting the requirements, that's a C grade, because the C is that's average. It's a writing class, so there are many assignments, but I give many assignments with the intention of a student maybe missing one or two smaller ones, so it's not a huge dent in their grade. It's mostly based on short essays, a few long essays, some kind of final project and participation, no exams.
How open are you to changing a grade if a student has a valid issue with it?
So that's a funny question to me, and that's actually part of the problem is that what a student may see as valid is not what I may see as valid, and sometimes people may see that it's unfair. So I can understand perhaps if I have read 60 essays and I grade someone's and theirs is the final one and I'm exhausted, maybe I didn't give it a fair look, and it turns out that they've done everything that I've asked, I would look at that. I'd be willing to consider it. I would never say, no, I'm not going to look at that again. It has to be in on time. They must have made an effort.
Why do you think students are focused on achieving a higher letter grade rather than just simply learning the material?
I think that we're in a very end product oriented society and that's natural. I don't like it, but I understand why it happens. On one level, if you need to start a career, you need a diploma in many cases. To get that, you need to accumulate grades. That makes sense. For others, maybe they've been very rewarded all their lives. They identify, I know especially higher achieving students, they identify as, I'm an honor student, I'm an A student, so of course they want that.
So students, take note. It's safe to assume that in order to attain an A in a college course, you're going to have to go above and beyond just the minimal requirements.